And
Tell me again, Terry, what chapter we're on.
We are on chapter 25, section 8, Justice Returned to Love, page 534. So let me share my screen.
Got to be getting close to the end of the text.
We're getting closer. We are getting closer. And we will continue after that. Okay. A Course in Miracles, chapter 25, section 8, Justice Returned.
Do you see the dots on the top of your screen? If you click that, you can see the zoom sizes.
Oh, look at you.
See that? Click on the plus sign. There you go.
There you go.
All these helpers. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate that. Okay, let me go ahead and resume talking, and thanks for the help, everyone. The Holy Spirit can use all that you give to him for your salvation, but he cannot use what you withhold, for he cannot take it from you without your willingness. For if he did, you would believe he wrested it from you against your will, and so you would not learn it is your will to be without it. You need not give it to him wholly willingly, for if you could, you had no need of him. But this he needs, that you prefer he take it than that you keep it for yourself alone, and recognize that what brings loss to no one, you would not know. This much is necessary to add to the idea no one can lose for you to gain, and nothing more. Here is the only principle salvation needs, nor is it necessary that your faith in it be strong, unswerving, and without attack from all beliefs opposed to it. You have no fixed allegiance. But remember, salvation is not needed by the saved. You are not called upon to do what one divided still against himself would find impossible. Have little faith that wisdom could be found in such a state of mind. But be you thankful that only little faith is asked of you. But what but a little faith remains to those who still believe in sin? What could they know of heaven and the justice of the saved? There is a kind of justice in salvation of which the world knows nothing. To the world, justice and vengeance are the same, for sinners see justice only as their punishment, perhaps sustained by someone else, but not escaped. The laws of sin demand a victim. Who it may be makes little difference, but death must be the cost and must be paid. This is not justice, but insanity. Yet how could justice be defined without insanity, where love means hate and death is seen as victory and triumph over eternity and timelessness and life? You who know not of justice still can ask and learn the answer. Justice looks on all in the same way. It is not just that one should lack for another has, for that is vengeance in whatever form it takes. Justice demands no sacrifice, for sacrifice is made that sin may be preserved and kept. It is a payment offered for the cost of sin, but not the total cost. The rest is taken from another, to be laid beside your little payment to atone for all that you would keep and not give up. So is the victim seen as partly you, with someone else by far the greater part. And in the total cost, the greater his, the less is yours. And justice, being blind, is satisfied by being paid. It matters not by whom. Can this be justice? God knows not of this. But justice does he know, and knows it well, for he is wholly fair to everyone. Vengeance is alien to God's mind because he knows of justice. To be just is to be fair and not be vengeful. Fairness and vengeance are impossible, for each one contradicts the other and denies that it is real. It is impossible for you to share the Holy Spirit's justice with a mind that can conceive of specialness at all. Yet how could he be just if he condemns a sinner for the crimes he did not do, but thinks he did? And where would justice be if he demanded of the ones obsessed with the idea of punishment that they lay it aside unaided and perceive it is not true? It is extremely hard for those who still believe sin meaningful to understand the Holy Spirit's justice. They must believe he shares their own confusion and cannot avoid the vengeance that their own belief in justice must entail. And so they fear the Holy Spirit and perceive the wrath of God in him. Nor can they trust him not to strike them dead with lightning bolts torn from the fires of heaven by God's own angry hand. They do believe that heaven is hell and are afraid of love. And deep suspicion and the chill of fear comes over them when they are told that they have never sinned. Their world depends on sin's stability, and they perceive the threat of what God knows as justice to be more destructive to themselves and to their world than vengeance, which they understand and love. So do they think the loss of sin a curse and flee the Holy Spirit as if he were a messenger from hell, sent from above in treachery and guile, to work God's vengeance on them in the guise of a deliverer and friend? What could he be to them except a devil dressed to deceive within an angel's cloak? And what escape has he for them except a door to hell that seems to look like heaven's gate? Yet justice cannot punish those who ask for punishment, but have a judge who knows that they are wholly innocent in truth. In justice, he is bound to set them free and give them all the honor they deserve and have denied themselves, because they are not fair and cannot understand that they are innocent. Love is not understandable to sinners because they think that justice is split off from love and stands for something else. And thus is love perceived as weak and vengeance strong, for love has lost when judgment left its side and is too weak to save from punishment. But vengeance without love has gained in strength by being separate and apart from love. And what but vengeance now can help and save, while love stands feebly by with helpless hands, bereft of justice and vitality, and powerless to save? What can love ask of you who think that all of this is true? Could he, in justice and in love, believe in your confusion you have much to give? You are not asked to trust him far, no more than what you see he offers you, and what you recognize you could not give yourself. In God's own justice does he recognize all you deserve, but understands as well that you cannot accept it for yourself. It is his special function to hold out to you the gifts the innocent deserve, and everyone that you accept brings joy to him as well as you. He knows that heaven is richer made by each one you accept, and God rejoices as his son receives what loving justice knows to be his due. For love and justice are not different. Because they are the same, does mercy stand at God's right hand and give the Son of God the power to forgive himself of sin. To him who merits everything, how can it be that anything be kept from him? For that would be injustice and unfair indeed to all the holiness that is in him, however much he recognize it not. God knows of no injustice. He would not allow his son be judged by those who seek his death and could not see his worth at all. What honest witness could they call forth to speak on his behalf? And who would come to plead for him and not against his life? No justice would be given him by you. Yet God ensured that justice would be done unto the son he loves and would protect from all unfairness you might seek to offer, believing vengeance is his proper due. A specialness cares not who pays the cost of sin, so it be paid The Holy Spirit heeds not who looks on innocent at last, provided it is seen and recognized. For just one witness is enough, if he sees truly. Simple justice asks no more. Of each one does the Holy Spirit ask if he will be that one, so justice may return to love and there be satisfied. Each special function he allots is but for this, that each one learn that love and justice are not separate, and both are strengthened by their union with each other. Without love is justice prejudiced and weak, and love without justice is impossible, for love is fair and cannot chasten without cause. What cause can be to warrant an attack upon the innocent? In justice, then, does love correct mistakes, but not in vengeance, for that would be unjust to innocence. You can be perfect witness to the power of love and justice if you understand it is impossible the Son of God could merit vengeance. You need not perceive in every circumstance that this is true, nor need you look to your experience within the world, which is but shadows of all that is really happening within yourself. The understanding that you need comes not of you, but from a larger self, so great and holy that he could not doubt his innocence. Your special function is a call to him, that he may smile on you, whose sinlessness he shares. His understanding will be yours. And so the Holy Spirit's special function has been fulfilled. God's Son has found a witness unto his sinlessness and not his sins. How little need you give the Holy Spirit that simple justice may be given you. Without impartiality, there is no justice. How can specialness be just? Judge not because you cannot, not because you are a miserable sinner too. How can the special really understand that justice is the same for everyone? To take from one to give another must be an injustice to them both, since they are equal in the Holy Spirit's sight. Their Father gave the same inheritance to both. Who would have more or less is not aware that he has everything. He is no judge of what must be another's due, because he thinks he is deprived. And so must he be envious and try to take away from whom he judges. He is not impartial and cannot fairly see another's rights, because his own have been obscured to him. You have the right to all the universe, to perfect peace, complete deliverance from all effects of sin, and to the life eternal, joyous and complete in every way, as God appointed for his Holy Son. This is the only justice heaven knows, and all the Holy Spirit brings to earth. Your special function shows you nothing else but perfect justice can prevail for you, and you are safe from vengeance in all forms. The world deceives, but it cannot replace God's justice with a version of its own, for only love is just and can perceive what justice must accord the Son of God. Let love decide, and never fear that you, in your unfairness, will deprive yourself of what God's justice has allotted you. So interesting. It says in like so many words what the simple truth is, right? That whenever we try to judge a brother, we keep that connection to the Holy Spirit from us. And in judging another, we're judging ourselves. And so we're not allowing ourselves to really feel that connection we have to that one mind of God, and to all of the love and all of the joy and all of the fairness. You know, it just goes back to that opportunities that each of our brothers hold out to us, right? In those special relationships. And all of those opportunities to learn and grow and to forgive that we have every day. It truly is a gift, right? We get frustrated with our brothers. We're like, oh, why does this guy have to be such a jerk? Or why does this situation have to be so hard? Or why do they not understand? But really, every single one of those situations is just an opportunity to forgive and love and to understand the difference between truth and the illusion.
Yep.
And the more you think you've got it, the more opportunities you're presented with.
Right, of course, right? That's how it works. And the more you want to get it, the more opportunities you're presented with, right? It's like, oh my gosh, what did I just wish for?
True story. Is that where that expression, you got to be careful what you wish for, came from?
Yes, exactly. And I like the part where it says you don't have to know everything or be like this person that has complete forgiveness in their heart. All you have to do is ask for help from the Holy Spirit, which is what we always forget, right? We always think we have to do it ourselves. Oh, I can't judge this person. Oh, I can't think badly of this person. All you have to do is remember to ask for help. Help me see this differently. Help me understand what this is for. Help me see the higher purpose in what is happening right now. Help me to choose love, because we don't have to do it on our own, and we can't really, right? Because we're not there yet, clearly, or these opportunities wouldn't keep presenting themselves. We wouldn't even see.
We're not really on our own. It is when you come from the thought, the belief, the trust, if you will, that we are all part of a whole, then you just see the various things as aspects of the whole. But
Right.
Whatever they do doesn't stick to you. It's not meant to hurt you, and it can't hurt you in any way. It's just another aspect of that whole. And when the whole puzzle is there, then you get to see the reasons why these awkwardly shaped pieces exist as part of the puzzle. And then you can just accept it and allow yourself to be a part of it and it to be the whole of you. It just completes that circle, if you will. And anything else, if it's all energy, and energy is moving and vibrating, if you're blocking a certain energy by forming resistance or distraction or another energy field that is, being obstructive to the energy that you want to flow. And that's what we do by distracting ourselves with all these thoughts of separation and all these thoughts of he did this to me and the world is, against me and so on and so forth. And when we just let that energy flow, then the energy that we want or we say we want can flow to us.
Great point, Mary. Well said. We are all part of the one mind, right? And as long as we continue to see the separation, right, we'll have opportunities. We'll have opportunities to heal that.
Yep. Yep. Plenty
Your
of
puppy's getting all kinds of love, Ernesto. Sorry, Carl, didn't mean to interrupt you.
No.
The darkness, I think makes them, even when I had the cat, they would sleep. They sleep a lot when it's like dark like this.
Right.
Something about the energy. But once he wakes up, he wants to play and then he crashes. And now he just wants to be on my lap.
That's cute. Oh, yeah, there's another one, Alicia. Look how sweet. Oh my gosh. So cute. All right. Any other comments about what we just read, or shall we continue on? Going. Okay, I have to get out of this. To the justice of heaven. Come do this special thing that Eric just showed me. We can do that here. Yeah, it's working. Okay. All right. The justice of heaven. What can it be but arrogance to think your little errors cannot be undone by heaven's justice? And what could this mean except that they are sins and not mistakes, forever uncorrectable, and to be met with vengeance, not with justice? Are you willing to be released from all effects of sin? You cannot answer this until you see all that the answer must entail. For if you answer yes, it means you will forego all values of this world in favor of the peace of heaven. Not one sin would you retain, and not one doubt that this is possible will you hold dear that sin be kept in place. You mean that truth has greater value now than all illusions, and you recognize that truth must be revealed to you because you know not what it is. To give reluctantly is not to gain the gift, because you are reluctant to accept it. It is saved for you until reluctance to receive it disappears, and you are willing it be given you. God's justice warrants gratitude, not fear. Anything you give is lost to you or anyone, but cherished and preserved in heaven, where all of the treasures given to God's Son are kept for him and offered anyone who but holds out his hand in willingness they be received. Nor is the treasure less as it is given out. Each gift but adds to the supply. For God is fair. He does not fight against his Son's reluctance to perceive salvation as a gift from him. Yet would his justice not be satisfied until it is received by everyone. Be certain any answer to a problem the Holy Spirit solves will always be one in which no one loses. And this must be true, because he asks no sacrifice of anyone. An answer which demands the slightest loss to anyone has not resolved the problem, but has added to it and made it greater, harder to resolve, and more unfair. It is impossible the Holy Spirit could see unfairness as a resolution. To him, what is unfair must be corrected, because it is unfair. And every error is a perception in which one, at least, is seen unfairly. Thus is justice not accorded to the Son of God. When anyone is seen as losing, he has been condemned, and punishment becomes his due instead of justice. The sight of innocence makes punishment impossible and justice sure. The Holy Spirit's perception leaves no ground for an attack. Only a loss would justify attack, and loss of any kind he cannot see. The world solves problems in another way. It sees a resolution as a state in which it is decided who shall win and who shall lose, how much the one shall take, and how much can the loser still defend. Yet does the problem still remain unsolved? For only justice can set up a state in which there is no loser, no one left unfairly treated and deprived, and thus with grounds for vengeance. Problem solving cannot be vengeance, which at best can bring another problem added to the first, in which the murder is not obvious. The Holy Spirit's problem solving is the way in which the problem ends. It has been solved because it has been met with justice. Until it has, it will recur because it has not yet been solved. The principle that justice means no one can lose is crucial to this course, for miracles depend on justice, not as it is seen through the world's eyes, but as God knows it and as knowledge is reflected in the sight the Holy Spirit gives. No one deserves to lose, and what would be unjust to him cannot occur. Healing must be for everyone, because he does not merit an attack of any kind. What order can there be in miracles unless someone deserves to suffer more and others less? And is this justice to the wholly innocent? A miracle is justice. It is not a special gift to some, to be withheld from others as less worthy, more condemned, and thus apart from healing. Who is there who can be separate from salvation if its purpose is the end of specialness? Where is salvation's justice if some errors are unforgivable and warrant vengeance in place of healing in return of peace? Salvation cannot seek to help God's Son be more unfair than he has sought to be. If miracles, the Holy Spirit's gift, were given specially to an elect and special group and kept apart from others as less deserving, then is he ally to specialness? What he cannot perceive, he bears no witness to, and everyone is equally entitled to his gift of healing and deliverance and peace. To give a problem to the Holy Spirit to solve for you means that you want it solved. To keep it for yourself to solve without his help is to decide it should remain unsettled, unresolved, and lasting in its power of injustice and attack. No one can be unjust to you unless you have decided first to be unjust. And then must problems rise to block your way and peace be scattered by the winds of hate. Unless you think that all your brothers have an equal right to miracles with you, you will not claim your right to them because you are unjust to one with equal rights. Seek to deny and you will feel denied. Seek to deprive and you have been deprived. A miracle can never be received because another could receive it not. Only forgiveness offers miracles, and pardon must be just to everyone. The little problems that you keep and hide become your secret sins because you did not choose to let them be removed for you. And so they gather dust and grow until they cover everything that you perceive and leave you fair to no one. Not one right do you believe you have, and bitterness with vengeance justified and mercy lost condemns you as unworthy of forgiveness. The unforgiven have no mercy to bestow upon another. That is why your sole responsibility must be to take forgiveness for yourself. The miracle that you receive, you give. Each one becomes an illustration of the law on which salvation rests, that justice must be done to all if anyone is to be healed. No one can lose, and everyone must benefit. Each miracle is an example of what justice can accomplish when it is offered to everyone alike. It is received and given equally. It is awareness that giving and receiving are the same, because it does not make the same unlike. It sees no differences where none exist. And thus it is the same for everyone, because it sees no differences in them. Its offering is universal, and it teaches but one message. What is God's belongs to everyone and is his due. There you go. We just have to remember to give it to the Holy Spirit, because it says right there, what we keep for ourselves remains unhealed. We can't fix it. It's not ours to fix. And we always forget, right? We always forget to give it to the Holy Spirit until we remember, until we practice and we make it a part of our daily practice.
Why is it that we all tend to forget it when we need it the most? I find that fascinating, and then we do talks like this, and it comes to the forefront of your consciousness again. Oh my gosh, all I got to do is ask for help. And it's just amazing to me how we know it, but we don't know it.
Yeah.
And we remember, but then we don't remember it. So.
Right.
For
And
the
maybe
same
it's
reason there's images that come up with it. So you notice the images that come up with it when you see, oh, I'm supposed to give this to the Holy Spirit. Well, you notice the images that came up with it also before when you were frustrated, resentful, bitter, and so on, but you forgot them. And then you acted on what was outside yourself instead. Still images though that come up.
Mhm.
Would you look in the chat, Alicia, when you get a chance? I asked a question in there just to you.
I saw it in there. I saw it, but I wasn't sure because I didn't mention. I didn't.
You said an antimicrobial, antivirus, and
Oh, yeah. Okay, I will respond to that question. Gotcha.
So I think, again, it goes back to practice. You know, it goes back to when we say, you know, I'm going to start going to the gym because I want to get healthy. I want to work out. I want to gain strength, whatever. And we go to the gym and we work out and we feel better. And then we stop going to the gym because we feel better and we look great and we just forget, right? And it falls off our radar. I think it's the same thing with asking the Holy Spirit for help. We get into a practice, we get into a situation where we follow a daily practice. Maybe we're doing the lessons every day. We're really there. We're really on point. We remember, we have maybe our Post-it notes all over the place. Maybe we, you know, do a special mantra. We optimize our environment. So we start every day with a meditation. And then we get away from that because something happens, right? A life event happens. And you get out of that practice of doing that thing every day. And instead you know, do something else and something else takes precedence and you just forget. And the more you fall away from doing that daily practice, the more you fall into forgetting to make those choices and forgetting to be in that place of love and align with the Holy Spirit and ask for help.
Did you notice that when you pause sometime and you look within for something, do you notice that they're separate from the other things that you're saying? The thought that you look for a thought, you look for the word practice, for example, or whatever it was that you were saying. And you pause and you look for another word, or you look for the meaningfulness of it to communicate the meaningfulness of it and so on and so forth. Do you see that they're all separate thoughts?
Do I see that they're separate
Yes,
thoughts?
do you see that each of them is individually by itself separate from the others?
I could see that, that they're all separate thoughts, but all part of.
But you forget it instantly as soon as you use it. That's my idea here. Is I think that much of the problem of not remembering to return this to the Holy Spirit is I'm not aware where everything comes from, nor am I aware of what I'm doing sometime when I'm looking within for things. They're separate, they're discrete. I say something that's separate, that's discrete. I have another experience that's separate, that's discrete. And I begin to forget the order of them. I begin to forget the functioning of them. I begin to realize they seem to be continuous. They seem to be joined together somehow, but they're not really though. So I can oscillate very easily between the Holy Spirit's thought system, which is always unifying, and the ego's thought system, which is always separating, and not notice it.
Yeah, that's a fascinating concept. I love it because it's definitely an example of what I call the knowing versus the thinking. Mm. And the thinking is where you can fall out of the habit. And as you expressed, thinking is all these separate thoughts that then we try to put together and we say, first I'll do this, then I'll do this, then I'll do this. And if something disrupts that, then that tower could topple and you're kind of back to square one, even though you're able to put it together a lot more quickly. So you're able to get back into the routine because you kind of know the steps. But when you have taken that to your core belief and have changed that, now it's whole. And it doesn't have all those separate parts anymore. Now it is who you are. and it's
And
beyond that thought process. And so then it doesn't really, you can choose to have some human experiences which then seem separate, but they're really not. You're choosing to have them, and you're always one with source, with that all-knowing whole thought system. And so that's what changes when you allow it, but you need to continue the process, if you will, of getting to your core belief rather than just having the sequences of thoughts.
What I try to do is I put it on my list, my daily list, whatever thought, and especially one like that, the one about giving it up to Holy Spirit or Spirit. That one is one that, if I forget something long enough, then I have to write it down when I remember it. Of course, the list can get mighty big, but so what? Because at least I can reference to something, especially like I keep a list where I cook and make coffee and all of that. Keep a pen and pencil there, and I'll write down whatever thought it is. Because if I leave it up to my mind, there's no way. My mind's like a sift anymore. Just everything goes through it. I can't remember nothing anymore, which is not bad.
Good points. All good points. And you're right, Eric and Mary, there's definitely a difference between thinking a thought and just allowing yourself to be connected to that one mind and being in the flow of the information.
Right. So the Course says you find infinite patience when you find this knowledge, you recognize it instantly, and then you rest in infinite patience and stay then within the truth rather than adjusting it. So that becomes whole then, and then it's easier to connect with someone. But interruptions come up. So when interruptions come up, we have to kind of stand back into the remembering of let the light go before me. Lesson 155 says, you just stand back into that light and let the light lead you again, because you've now changed the truth. Otherwise, if I continue, I change the truth, which sometimes we do and not even notice it.
True. Good to have Tim here, and Carol, I see you have both joined. Great to have you guys with us today. We are on chapter 25. I think we might have just finished it. Yes, we did. So now we are on to chapter 26, which is the transition. Any other discussions about chapter 25 before we continue? Right. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. The transition, the sacrifice of oneness. In the dynamics of attack, is sacrifice a key idea? It is the pivot upon which all compromise, all desperate attempts to strike a bargain, and all conflicts achieve a seeming balance. It is the symbol of the central theme that somebody must lose. Its focus on the body is apparent, for it is always an attempt to limit loss. The body is itself a sacrifice, a giving up of a power in the name of saving just a little for yourself. To see a brother in another body, separate from yours, is the expression of a wish to see a little part of him and sacrifice the rest. Look at the world, and you will see nothing attached to anything beyond itself. All seeming entities can come a little nearer or go a little farther off, but cannot join. The world you see is based on sacrifice of oneness. It is a picture of complete disunity and total lack of joining. Around each entity is built a wall so seeming solid that it looks as if what is inside can never reach without, and what is out can never reach and join with what is locked away within the wall. Each part must sacrifice the other part. to keep itself complete. For if they joined, each one would lose its own identity, and by their separation are themselves maintained. The little that the body fences off becomes the self, preserved through sacrifice of all the rest. And all the rest must lose this little part, remaining incomplete to keep its own identity intact. In this perception of yourself, the body's loss would be a sacrifice indeed. For sight of bodies becomes the sign that sacrifice is limited, and something still remains for you alone. And for this little to belong to you are limits placed on everything outside, just as they are on everything you think is yours. For giving and receiving are the same. And to accept the limits of a body is to impose these limits on each brother whom you see. For you must see him as you see yourself. The body is a loss and can be made to sacrifice. And while you see your brother as a body, apart from you and separate in his cell, you are demanding sacrifice of him and you. What greater sacrifice could be demanded than that God's Son perceive himself without his Father, and his Father be without his Son? Yet every sacrifice demands that they be separate and without the other. The memory of God must be denied if any sacrifice is asked of anyone. What witness to the wholeness of God's Son is seen within a world of separate bodies, however much he witnesses to truth? He is invisible in such a world, nor can his song of union and of love be heard at all. Yet is it given him to make the world recede before his song, and sight of him replace the body's eyes. Those who would see the witnesses to truth instead of to illusion merely ask that they might see a purpose in the world that gives it sense and makes it meaningful. Without your special function, has this world no meaning for you? Yet it can become a treasure house as rich and limitless as heaven itself. No instant passes here in which your brother's holiness cannot be seen, to add a limitless supply to every meager scrap and tiny crumb of happiness that you allot yourself. You can lose sight of oneness, but cannot make sacrifice of its reality. Nor can you lose what you would sacrifice, nor keep the Holy Spirit from his task of showing you that it has not been lost. Hear then the song your brother sings to you, and let the world recede and take the rest his witness offers on behalf of peace. But judge him not, for you will hear no song of liberation for yourself, nor see what it is given him to witness to, that you may see it and rejoice with him. Make not his holiness a sacrifice to your belief in sin. You sacrifice your innocence with his, and die each time you see in him a sin deserving death. Yet every instant you can be reborn and given life again. His holiness gives life to you, who cannot die because his sinlessness is known to God, and can no more be sacrificed by you than can the light in you be blotted out because he sees it not. You who would make a sacrifice of life and make your eyes and ears bear witness to the death of God and his holy Son, think not that you have power to make of them what God willed not they be. In heaven, God's Son is not imprisoned in a body, nor is sacrificed in solitude to sin. And as he is in heaven, so must he be eternally and everywhere. He is the same forever, born again each instant, untouched by time, and far beyond the reach of any sacrifice of life or death. For neither did he make, and only one was given him by one who knows his gifts can never suffer sacrifice and loss. God's justice rests in gentleness upon his Son and keeps him safe from all injustice the world would lay upon him. Could it be that you could make his sins reality and sacrifice his Father's will for him? Condemn him not by seeing him within the rotting prison where he sees himself. It is your special function to ensure the door be opened, that he may come forth to shine on you and give you back the gift of freedom by receiving it of you. What is the Holy Spirit's special function but to release the Holy Son of God from the imprisonment he made to keep himself from justice? Could your function be a task apart and separate from his own? And there it is again, reminding us that our only function, our only task is to reach out to our brother and see him as sinless and as one with us. And that's how we accept our own salvation and our own oneness and our own sense of unity with the one mind of God and with all of our brothers. Our only function over and over and over again, right? In every single chapter. It just says it in hundreds of different ways.
I've got a comment on that. It started coming to me, we have to find our own innocence. And as you continue to talk, Terry, you can't find it except through seeing your brother innocent. You have to do that, and that's the way. I used to think years ago, oh well, I can do this on my own, and but whenever I would get released from the ego, it would be because there was somebody there. There was somebody I saw that was inseparable from me, that didn't have any sin. There was a little thing that happened here at the house the other night when my son accidentally knocked a Bodum craft off, and I'm a big coffee guy. So, the first instant was like, all right, well, he shouldn't have hit that. And then right away he was, well, Dad, you shouldn't have had it right on the edge of the counter. And in that instant, I went, okay, both arguments are valid, but then neither argument is valid. Both separate. And do I want to lose the love of my son, or do I want to continue to heal that? And so I said, here, he was in his bare feet. I said, here's my sandals. I'll take care of this. And I didn't say another word about it. And ordered another one, no big deal. And so, we had to take 2 cars to go to the Seigneur. It's a restaurant on a bay south of Tallahassee here. And he asked to, well, can I ride with you in the little car? I said, yeah. And so we talked the whole way down, the whole way back. And, had there been that rift, if I had tried to make myself right and him wrong, I mean, it would have changed everything. And, so we have to wonder, we can say, well, it's something, maybe it's really big, but is it worth losing peace? And then you regret the life that you've lived when you come to the end of it, because you were never able to bridge that, I think he calls it the little gap here someplace. It's a very small gap. It doesn't really even exist. We just think it does. All gone, as one of our kids used to say.
That was a great share. Thank you, Tim. It's always great to have examples of what we're talking about, right? Because we can see it in our own life. So when you share that, we all are able to experience that through you. So thank you for sharing that. So important. And we have so many opportunities, right? Every day whether it's
Boy.
gossip or drama or family or friends or jobs. There's so many opportunities to heal and to ask the Holy Spirit for help, right? And intervene so that we can experience exactly what you're talking about, experience that oneness and to heal the separation.
Yeah. It's critical. That's what this whole book is about.
It is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I know that the next section we can read if we want, or we can discuss for the next almost 10 minutes. If anybody has anything they want to share.
I'd rather discuss. So I like that idea that Tim, you said the tiny gap, and it's like you noticed that gap was being bridged when you had that experience.
Yeah, I actually did, Eric.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was.
I think that the same thing is like this. It's the same idea. In the holy instant, it's like that gap is being bridged. So it's between the argument and the pride and judgments and all that being just sort of forgotten. And now there's an opportunity. Seeing the opportunity, suddenly I don't even not see the opportunity. I only can see the opportunity. So it's there. I take the opportunity or become unified in the opportunity, I guess is a better way maybe to say it. And now I feel peaceful and I relax and I see, oh, yeah, that's what I needed to feel safe again. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
I like it too. I like that thing you did back some time ago too. We were talking about people and you brought up a serial killer that you had known.
Oh,
and you thought to yourself, I never knew him like that. And so you didn't want to change your mind about what you did know about him.
Right.
That was very interesting too.
Yeah, I think it was Robert Rodriguez who killed a couple of girls down St. John's Island, I think.
It's awful, but you hadn't had the experience, and so you didn't decide to change the experience that you had. Yeah, and I don't think there's any reason to change our experience of what we learned from. I think sometimes we tend to negate those things because something comes along and shows us evidence supposedly that's not really, there really isn't kindness, or there really isn't compassion, or there really isn't forgiveness, or along the lines like that.
Yeah. Yeah, we have 7 billion examples. Maybe more.
And only one, right?
That gap occurs a lot, though, so it's something to look forward to because it repeats itself over and over again. Would I rather be practicing willful self-pride and feeling ashamed of what my past was about, or would I rather let that go and be rescued into courage?
Yeah, what I'm still starting to experience a little more, just a little more, is what I guess I would call presence. Sometimes it's really dim, but it's still there. So there's a sense of guidance, let's say, that is there, and I can get, I can lose it, but my choice is becoming more and more these last weeks is to no, I don't want to repeat the, much of the previous 72 years. I don't want a lot of that stuff anymore. I don't want to be, having to be top dog or something in my field and that kind of thing. It's like, no, why? If it turns your family against you or friends or whatever, oh, you never have any time, you're always working or whatever, it's like, I really am it's just enough. I mean, if I can't find joy in my work, then I need to do something else. And I do find joy in it. It's just, I don't want to make it a job. So anyway, enough of that, but that presence, I think I remember Ram Dass talking about, was somebody, it might not have been him, but it's like each time you meditate and you connect, it's like, the cloth that you think you're made of gets dyed a little bit. There's a little bit of this color, spiritual color or whatever. And so the more it's dyed, you can go out into the world, and that bright sunlight can, you know, try and fade you, but finally it's not going to fade. It's going to be there continuously. So anyway, it's just
So eventually you learn to use your forgetfulness properly.
Yeah. So, you know, it gets back to like when I was a Baptist many years ago, and I was, you know, went to the front of the church, and you know, later was baptized, and I was, you know, literally, I would go home and I'd be crying in my room, like, what is this? And I go back to him, and he says, oh, just have faith, you know, and like, it wasn't enough. I mean, there had to be something more than faith, but, you know, it kind of, if you haven't had the experience of being completely released from your ego, I mean, completely, then just have faith in what those that have are saying, because I assure you, it's really the only place. So that's not much of an answer for faith, but I think it's kind of, you know what I mean. Everybody knows what I mean. It's sort of like this old term, but anyway.
The little willingness, right? A little willingness, and to ask for help. And it goes back to what we were saying before, you know, we keep thinking we have to do it ourselves, and that's where we run into problems, because we don't. We just forget to ask for help. You know, it just, the faith we need is just that little willingness and that remembrance to ask the Holy Spirit for help. It's simple, right? We always say simple but not easy, but it becomes easy when you practice.
Yeah,
and
thanks.
Practice, the easier it is.
Yeah, that really is it, Terry. You got to remember, you know, that information.
And another term, and I think it was you who first, Terry, you were the first one who used this example in that movie, The Last Samurai, where the guy's trying to do all this stuff. He's trying to learn all these things, you know, and he just keeps kind of getting in his own way. And the guy says, no mind.
Mm-hmm.
When you have no mind, you have no judgment, you have nothing. And that is, it's almost being, not almost, it is being in the state of grace.
Right. You have to surrender. Yeah. You have to completely surrender and just let go and let God, or let go and let the Holy Spirit come through you. Right. Good point. Thank you, Ernesto, for sharing that.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Any other comments before we close today, and try to remember to let go and ask the Holy Spirit for the next 7 days till we talk again? All right, that's the practice. Thank you, everyone, for joining. It's always a pleasure. Thank you for sharing. And again, a lot of insightful comments by all of you. So appreciate being here with all of you. So I just want to say thank you so much.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
I'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.